My name is Alex Thandi. I'm a data analyst at CSIS. Welcome. Today is July 1st. This is the Wednesday CalPADS Q&As. And driving for us today is going to be Mr. Matt Clark, freshly back from vacation. So we're going to move on to announcements. We're starting off with there was an email that was sent last Friday about the new service desk that we are using. We are using Sendesk, and the email was sent out again. It was last Friday, June 26th, and it talked about how we're migrating from the old system to the new system. That transition already happened on Monday. Most of you, I hope, had a very seamless transition. If you've opened up a ticket, it shouldn't have been very different. You can still email the service desk. Email is still the same. You can reach us by the navigation in CalPADS, within CalPADS under help. That's still the same. Perhaps the fields may be a little bit different, but the location's still the same. What did change, if you bookmarked that request form on, for the CalPADS form, you will want to update that so that you have the new web form for the service request. Additionally, if you had a ticket that you submitted last week or prior to that and you were still waiting for an answer, go ahead and reply to that ticket. It'll open up a new ticket in our new system, and that'll get the ball rolling again. Alrighty, next up we have a direct certification email that was sent out yesterday. And that email was just a reminder for folks to download any direct cert extracts if you hadn't already done so for the 25-26 academic year, because every July 1st, CalPADS thinks it's a new academic year, right? So, and on that note, happy 26-27 academic year, I guess that's today. So if you didn't download 25-26 direct cert files, a little bit too late now because the data's been purged, but just a heads up, if you try to download it and you get 0 bytes, it's because of that. It's because the data's been purged now. Moving on to the calendar. So end of year 1, end of year 2, we're in the middle of it. The initial deadline for end of year 1 is July 17th. That's just 16 days from now. And although SELPA approval is strongly encouraged, it is not required. But keep in mind that for the final deadline on July 31st, SELPA approval is required for that. So, plan ahead to make sure that you are working with your SELPA and giving them ample time to give you feedback and be able to get any updates required. End of year 2, there's only one deadline, and that is for August 17th. So again, work with your folks because people are either on vacation or they get back from vacation and they're already starting the next school year. They don't have time to think about the past, right? So plan accordingly there. And thinking about people going on vacation, CSIS is going on vacation. This Friday, we are closed. And I'm guessing most of you will be as well. So Friday, you can still submit tickets. We just won't be here to answer them. You'll get an answer the following Monday. And I just remembered, Matt, I didn't talk to you about this one, but I did want to mention if people were doing extracts, if you wanted to get a real-time extract in CalPADS, just a heads up that because CalPADS thinks it's the new academic year, it defaults to 26-27 already. So if you were, for example, trying to get a real-time extract of all your SINC, make sure you're changing the academic year first. And I think Matt is going to navigate to that. Just so that you don't think it's a bug or you get freaked out that you don't have any data. It's there. You just have to change the academic year. And Matt's going to show you, I think.
Let me know if there's anything in particular you'd like me to tip out.
No, if you just open up the CRSC, maybe the second extract on there on the real time, And then that'll show you, because not all of the extracts have an academic year, but you see how there it defaults to 26, 27. So just make sure that you're changing that to 25, 26 in order to get the data that you're needing for end of year.
Thank you for the assist there, Alex.
Yeah, no, thank you. That I didn't tell you about that. It just came to my mind. Okay, that was a lot, and I am done. So Angela, over to you.
That was very nicely done, Alex. You had a lot to cover, and you did it succinctly. So, yeah, I was going to talk about the Zendesk implementation over the weekend. I think it went really well. I think you covered it pretty well. It's been a little hectic on our end, just making sure all the pieces are in place, but hopefully it looked pretty seamless on your end. And I want to emphasize Alex's point about lingering tickets from the old system. If you felt like you still needed a response on that and we haven't ported it over into the new system, you can just reply to the last email you got and it'll route into the new system. And so we can reassign it to the agent that was working with you. It's a real easy way to do that. We have updated known issues and fix implemented. And I did want to point out that some of you, we had a disappearing end of year 2 started last week with a small, like one little IRC, and then it kept blossoming. And by the time this morning happened, it was like half the state was missing it. And so they were able to patch that this morning. So everybody should have end of year 2 visible now, except if you're a K6, if we purposely took the end of year 2 off for you because K6 LEAs don't need to certify end of year 2. I think that was all I had today.
Alrighty. Dominic, anything from the SpEd office?
Yes, and I'm jumping on somebody's Q&A question on this, but we've completed the most recent round of data quality analysis. We're expecting that to go out either this afternoon or sometime tomorrow. It will be in the same box site that it was distributed through previously. So SELPA directors or SELPA users, you'll just use the same link to access the box site to get the new items. And I do want to clarify that we won't be regenerating the round 1 data quality analysis items. This is only going to be the addition of the second round of data quality analysis items. So look for that by end of day today or tomorrow at the latest. And that's all I have.
Okay. Thank you. And I don't know if we have anybody from the CALPADS office. Doesn't seem like it. Okay. So I'm just going to jump right into the questions, and we're starting with Soraya. Question 1 says, are all students that are directly certified at or below 185% of the federal poverty level? There's some confusion with our food services staff and system. Some seem to think not all students who are direct cert are eligible for Sunbucks, but they may not be at or below 185% of the federal poverty level, as outlined in Flash 321. Please advise. I don't know.
I would say we don't know any more than what's in that flash.
Right.
Would you agree with that, Alex? But there is contact information, Matt, at the very bottom, the last section of this flash. And it's the second bullet there, summer EBT at cde.ca.gov.
Perfect.
So I would say post that question there and see if you can get a good answer.
And Matt just put the email in the chat. Next up, we have Shelley from Bonsall Unified. Question 1. Hi, is there an issue with the SCTE 0698E2 right now? Let's see.
I couldn't find one. And Shelley, thank you for putting your district in there. I don't see you have any of those errors or warnings. So are you helping another LEA, or are you expecting to get the error and you're not getting it? Yeah. I just ran your data discrepancies and I don't see that for you. Maybe it cleared on your latest revision at 258.
Happy surprise. Well, we're gonna call that done. But if Shelley, you have any other questions on that, let us know. We're gonna move on. Oh, Soraya, I see your question too. We'll circle back. Rigoberto, question 1. Good afternoon, team. Once a student is pregnant, should their 162 program be open for their entire academic career now that they're parenting, or is it explicit confirmation needed yearly? I think the data guide has a chart of all the different programs and whether or not you need to close them out. So maybe data guide can help us. I couldn't tell you what section it's under.
It's under the programs section. There's that chart.
Yeah.
I usually do the view
Control
navigation.
F. Yeah. We may need to, yeah.
We used to have that page memorized. It came up so often.
Is it program 162?
162. Mm-hmm. And maybe just do 162 and not program.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there we go.
Nothing, huh? Pregnant parenting? Or just pregnant? That shouldn't be.
Page 54.
Page 54.
So I also would think you would also refer to Flash 148, which I linked in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
It says something there about an 8-week parental leave. So I'm not sure if that has to be accounted with as
I
well.
think if I remember that flash, that's about the attendance code, right? Of the
Yes.
temporarily not enrolled, because I think that students that are on parental leave have that 8-week period. And so CDE was saying, don't exit them.
Yeah.
So just keep them enrolled for that long. Just make sure that their attendance doesn't count against them. And so that's where the temporarily not enrolled comes into play. Whether or not you need to exit the program record, the data guide says, so that's that last column there. No, these records should not be closed annually for returning students. For students exiting the school, these records may, but are not required to be closed. So there you go, Rigoberto. You can leave it open.
Can you read what the program end date represents as well?
Yes. Program end date represents the date the student was determined to be ineligible at a school or is no longer parenting. So you would keep that program open until they exit your school. All right. We're going to move on, and I see your question too, so we're going to circle back to that and go on to Carrie. Question 1 says, when do we anticipate getting the data quality checks for SPED, and will they be put in the same box folder? My director is out, and I don't want to miss them while she's out. And then I think, Dominic, that's the one you answered, so she says thank you.
Sure, and I can restate it just in case we have people joining late. But the data quality analysis round 2 items should go out by end of day today or tomorrow at the latest. And they will be in the same box folder, so the same link should work.
Perfect. Thank you. Next, we have Audrey. Question 1 says, the SOFF, SERV, and SINC real-time extracts are available in the dropdown for SELPA users, but when you enter the extract specifications and then click Request File, the request box hangs and never completes the request. The requesting box just circles infinitely. Is this an expected behavior, or should SELPA users have access to download these extracts? Should I put in a ticket?
Well, I was able to reproduce that. I don't know the answer to the question if they're supposed to be able to get to that. Do you know off the top of your head, Alex?
I don't know off the top of my head.
I'd say put in a ticket, Audrey. Either we figure out they shouldn't be even able to click on that, or we have a bug that it's stuck in purgatory requesting.
Hmm.
And you can ask for me on that ticket too, and they'll route it to me.
Thank you. Rigoberto, I see your question 3. We'll circle back. Angela's question 1. Regarding known issue 590, for end of year 2 missing for some LEAs, it looks like SCSC-related warnings disappeared in the newest snapshot. It looks like it's happening to others based on the listserv chatter, so I'm not sure if CALPADS folks are aware of this or if I should submit a ticket about it.
I did ask the developer after that patch went in to run revisions, new revisions for everybody, Angela. So just check back later. It should clear up. And probably check your data discrepancies too. That one will probably be picked up clean faster.
Next up is Elise. Question 1 reads, I have a student who will be attending a for-profit private school in August, and I have been told by her SPED department that she can stay on an IEP because she is only receiving SPED speech services. Is there a data validation that prevents sending up an IEP for a student enrolled in a private school?
As far as I'm aware, there's not a validation there is a validation for that, but the solution is that the student should not be enrolled in the private school group. And it really matters if the parent or if the student is actually placed in this for-profit private school by the IEP team, because the determination was that this would be the best setting for the student. If it's a matter of the parent wanting their student to attend this for-profit private school, then the student would not be eligible for services on an IEP or an ISP. So at least if you want to send in a ticket, we can provide more information on that, because the answer is going to depend on that pretty critical factor in the plan.
Okay. And Shelley is very happy.
I would like to think that UP is about the new service desk solution.
No, I think it was her. She had validations that were triggering and cleared up.
Very nice, Shelley. Very nice.
You can pretend that that's what it was about.
I hope you guys are excited about the service desk too, though.
Okay, next is Larnie from Oxnard. Question 1. Once we certify end of year 1 and it is now August 1st, can we change a student's end of year status from either did not graduate to graduated or drop out to returning next year? If we can, what would this mean for SPED students if we certify them in end of year 1 as eligible and participating, but they met their grad requirements in the summer and changed their end of year to graduate passing all requirements? Should we then change the SWDS to no longer eligible, effective what date?
I would say it should be effective the day after, either the day after the enrollment exits, or if there is no enrollment for the subsequent grant. So sorry, I'm rereading the question.
Yeah,
they met the grad requirements in the summer. So
and can I jump in here,
yes,
Dominic? Because
yes,
I was rereading it and then I thought to myself, wait, how are we going to handle this? But then I realized, so when a student is finishing their graduation requirements over summer break, we're expecting you to end it as of the last day of school. You have that E156 saying the student's still working on it. And then once they finish their graduation requirements, if they do, hopefully they do, whenever they finish their grad requirements, you create a one-day enrollment as of that date. And so that one-day enrollment is going to represent that meets graduation requirements, and you're going to label that enrollment with an E230-100. And so at that point is when you would enter that SWDS record, right?
Right. Yeah, and it would be effective the day after that one-day enrollment.
Mm-hmm. So theoretically, if they graduated after like August 1st, then that's still within the next academic year. It wouldn't impact your end of year for end of year 1. So hopefully that makes sense, Marnie. Oh, did we lose Matt? Hello?
His
He
Oh.
just popped back in.
green, he's still logged in.
Looks like we lost Matt.
Okay.
I'm on a Waymo again.
Do you want
He's
to-
back.
I think
Oh.
I'm back. I think I'm
Hey.
back. Hey
Yeah.
guys, sorry about that.
Okay.
You'll need to share your screen again, Matt.
All right. Do you guys see
It's
the user
coming.
manual?
Yes.
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 Okay. Sorry about the delay, folks.
Totally fine. And then Larnie says summer will end on July 31st. So that's the last day of summer school, is what you're saying? They will have their new end of year on July 31st.
Well,
I'm not
it
sure
wouldn't
what
be a new EOY. It would
Right.
just be the 1-day summer enrollment to report the graduation. Right. They're still part of 25-26 EOY, but you're talking about a date after certification, right? How?
Because I mean, the final deadline is July 31st. So if that is the last day of school, the summer school for you, and students can graduate on that day, then it becomes a bit tricky for your particular situation, right? Because you're kind of making updates on the deadline. So that is unfortunate. But I'm hoping you don't have that many summer school kids that are graduating or finishing their requirements on that last day.
Also, the
mhm.
importance for that would just be more if the student is a special ed graduate, because that special ed report only captures graduates as of 7/31. You can always update the exits since the 122 and 123 is collected in August.
That's right. And you know what? I am confusing myself because even if I go back to my original answer, right? Even if the student did meet their requirements on July 31st, that is still technically the next academic school year. So even if you were to put in that grad date as of July 31st, before the deadline closes, that student would still not appear in your end of year reports because the end of year reports goes up until June 30th. Right? So it won't impact your end of year reports, I guess is what I'm saying. Because as of June 30th, that student was still an E156 and was still eligible and participating. So if you still have questions, let me know or put in a question too. I'm going to move on to Shelley from Hacienda La Puente. Question 1 says, do physical restraint incidents need to have the instructional support field populated? And then it's that comment says, for some reason, Aries defaults that field as no. Will this be a problem for my LEA? I believe the instructional support is required if it is a suspension in school or out of school suspension. And Matt is showing us the CFS, the CALPADS CFS, and under the SERVs, we have instructional support. Unless it's in the SINC.
Instructional support is in the SINC.
There we go. All right. So yeah, there we go. There's a validation. So if the incident result code is 100, 110, or 200, so in school suspension, out of school suspension, or expulsion, then the instructional support must be populated. So to answer your question, if it is just a physical restraint, then no, it's not a required field. And if Aries is defaulting it as no, that's okay. I don't think we're validating that it has to be blank. Otherwise, if you're giving it to us, I think we'll take it. The validation field has NA in my copy of the CFS. Interesting.
Oh, we now have version 17.2. Just make sure that you have that version.
Thank you, Karen. 17.2 is the one you want to look at, Shelley.
And I believe this is 17.2. I downloaded it from the user manual just after lunch.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right, we're going to move on then. Charlene's question 1. I used to put the agent's name in the subject line when submitting a service ticket. Now that we have a new form, how do we request anyone in particular? I think either in the subject line is fine or in the body of the ticket itself. I don't know, Angela, if you have a preference.
Either is fine. Yeah.
Next, we have Jasmine from Pivot Charter. Question 1 says, our last day of school was June 12th. An RFEP form was signed on June 15th. The student is currently planning to return to the same school next year. If our first day of school next year is September 3rd, should the RFEP record start on September 4th? Do I post that now or after we upload our SCNRs for next year? I read through Flash 322 and couldn't find a scenario that matched, so looked in the user manual. Students reclassified after last day of school who will be returning should have an RFEP date equal to the first day of school plus 1 day for next school year. I believe you have to have an SCNR that overlaps the RFEP. So I think CALPADS is going to want an SCNR for the next academic year first.
And the dates can't be the same. There's an error if you use the same date.
Right. So yeah, so and to your point, if the school year starts September 3rd, then you want to use September 4th. And then Rebecca says that she thinks scenario 3 from Flash 322 could apply. You would use the last day of school if your student does not have an enrollment in CALPADS for 26-27. It would be important to get this in before July 17th. Yeah. In your case, Jasmine, if the student is returning, then I think your what you saw, what you read in the user manual applies, right? The next school year. Okay, I'm gonna move on. Oh, Larnie's question 2. I think those are all question 1s then. All right, we're going to start off at 302 with Soraya. Question 2 says, any word on an official RFEP rate calculation for 26-27? And then Evan writes, the Analysis, Measurement, and Accountability Reporting Division at CDE announced to COEs at the final RAN meeting of the year that they would be publishing reclassification rate data files this summer. These will be published as data files only rather than added to DataQuest, as DataQuest is getting a refresh this year. Thank you for that.
Yeah, well done, Evan.
I know.
Add him to the panelist.
Right. All right, next we have Rigoberto's question 2 at 304. Question says, this question is for Dom. Happy to see him here. We are happy to have him. Says, we have a student who had their initial IEP evaluation found eligible the last week of school. We are still pending parent consent to provide services. But for EOY, how should the student look in CALPADS in terms of their SWDS, meet, plan, and serve? Is this SPED scenario 1 or IB-2A except with the new updated non-participation reason code?
Rigoberto, it's good to see you as well. Thank you. Yes, you've described it pretty much exactly. IB2A, where you have a delay between the meeting and the parent agreeing to the plan. You'll need the meet record and a status record. As it describes in the scenario, you want that status of eligible not participating. There's a validation that will look for a status record when there is a meeting record. So you can submit up the meeting record and then that eligible not participating status. And then once you have that signature, you can send up the plan and the service records as well as an updated status of eligible and participating. And it just depends on your special education data system, whether or not you'll be able to generate that transaction without signature, or if it will go ahead and generate, as Carrie states, that eligible not participating status record that goes with the meeting record.
Okay. Thank you very much. And Rigoberto's question 3 says, in case there's extra time, another one for Dominic. Is an LEA liable for non-compliant late meetings from a previous LEA as shown on the 16.21 monitoring report?
No, we only have monitoring and accountability for timelines where the meeting has not yet been held. So if a meeting was held late at the previous district before the student transferred to you, it is not your responsibility.
Good news. Okay. Moving on to Larnie's question 2. This is at 327. Question 2 reads, I understand that the waiver for graduation requirements equals Y is for students who were approved the state minimum requirements or foster requirements. What about if there was a waiver of 5 or 10 credits from the local LEA requirements approved by the board? Do we need to submit a Y for them? And for the life of me, I cannot find any documentation or flash regarding this graduation waiver. Are there any?
There is Flash 260, but Matt, before you navigate there, it's also just in our file specification. So if you still have that up, it's field 1.35 on the SENR. So my short answer for Larnie is yes, that meets the definition of the exemption indicator, yes.
Not sure what's going on with my CFS, but 1.35 isn't showing up. Got 1.34. It's there.
Where'd it go? What version is this?
It should be 17.2. Again, downloaded from the user manual just after lunch today. And I do see Shelly's Q2 at 332, so you can download the documentation from the user manual here. If you scroll down to explore topics, file submission, and documents to refer to, you can find links to the most updated versions of CALPADS documentation.
I have the Word doc open and it's in there.
Well, let's try it out.
Matt, if
Oh.
you go to the far right of that CFS, there is a data discrepancies column. I think it was filtered by default.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
Yeah. So
Oh,
let me just make
thank you,
sure
Kat.
I re-upload it without the filters.
Yeah.
Good catch.
And it is there now. Yay. Okay. Good catch, Kyron. Thank you.
So you were saying, Angela, that based on the definition here,
Yeah, that meets the definition of yes for that indicator.
And did you want me to go to that flash as well?
I don't think so. I mean, it's that what is in that flash is incorporated here.
Okay.
Hopefully that helps you, Lynne. But it is Flash 260 if you wanted to go read more about it, Lynne. Assuming it's still posted somewhere. I don't know, Kyron, do you put every Flash in the user manual or just high profile ones?
The ones that I think would be relevant. Let me see if 263 is there. If not, I'll add it there as well. Yep,
Right.
I'll add that as well.
We'll move on then to Teresa from Plumas Unified. Question 1. On the 1612 report, is there any reason why the total number for the education plan types, when added together, total unduplicated by plan count, would be a larger number than the SELPA total? Our report has 315 IEPs and 8 ISPs for a total of 323, but our SELPA total is 319 on the report.
I can't think of a reason off the top of my head that they would be different. And I'm looking through the user manual entries right now, and I haven't found an answer yet. Audrey notes it may do this if the student has multiple plan types during the year. I wasn't sure if that would be the case on 1612 because it should be the unduplicated total.
But I think if the student was on an IEP,
Oh,
and then on an ISP later on that year, they would count on both of those counts, and then the total would just show the kid once. Right?
Yeah, that's what Audrey just added. And I've seen that.
yeah, I was thinking multiple plans, not multiple plan types.
My suggestion would be if you run your 1614, you get a student list, and then see if there are any students that appear twice under 2 different plan types. And then that should give you, hopefully, the discrepancy between when the 323 and the 319.
What Alex said, yes.
Next is Asia's question 1. To piggyback on Larnie's question, in 25-26, if a 12th grade student currently has an exit code of E156 and is expected to provide proof of completion after June 30th, their completion date will put them into the 26-27 graduation, correct? Yeah, if they provide proof of completion after June 30th, then they are technically graduates within the 26-27 academic year. Angela's saying report mapping guide 122, enrollment exit date, it's within August 16 to August 15. So, yeah. Okay, so maybe I did misspeak.
Yeah, they'll be counted as 25-26 grads.
Okay.
As long as the record's posted before the final deadline and the date is before August 15th or on August 15th or before.
But in context with the prior question, you have to consider the deadline day for end of year 1, which was July 31st. I think that was the emphasis. If she couldn't change it by July 31, then it won't clear on the end of year 1 certification. It won't change the exit. So it will only reflect it in EOI 2 122 and 123 report.
In the cohort.
Yes.
Lots of moving parts here, folks. Then it says cohort grads are now lined up with end of year 2, though. Yeah. cohort and end of year 2 are both due August 17th. Okay, sorry for the confusion, folks. Larnie, question 3, a follow-up on my question 1. So for SPED students who are potentially going to meet the graduation requirements on July 31st, they will have a one-day enrollment on July 6th, beginning of summer school, with the completion status of graduated, passing all requirements. This will make them no longer eligible for services effective 7/7. It is now August 1st, and end of year has already been certified. We do want the graduate credit for 26 cohort, which they will because the August 15 deadline. However, what does that mean on their SWDS? Should we change the no longer eligible as of 7/7, and will the students show up and counted for 26-27 academic year because we already certified them as eligible and participating?
I don't know a whole lot about reporting graduates, but if the student is going to potentially meet the requirements on July 31st, I don't understand why they would be reported with the completer statuses as of July 7th. And that could just be something that I don't understand, but.
No, and that's one of the things that I wanted to confirm or clarify with Larnie. So we did have a flash on this, on how to report summer graduates, but the date that you use as the one-day enrollment is the date that they finish their graduation requirements. So they may have started summer school on July 6th, but they finished their graduation requirements on July 31st. And so the one-day enrollment is going to be July 31st to July, that one day, July 31st. And so that would be the graduation date. And then the SWDS would be not eligible one day after, which would be August 1st.
Do you happen to remember the number of that flash, Alex?
Not off the top of my head, but it shouldn't have been that long ago. Go to archive maybe, and then type in summer or search for summer.
303.
Oh, there it is.
Thank you, Rebecca, also. In chat.
Of course. And so then so August 1st, no longer eligible, will be counted for 26-27. No, because as of the last day of school for that student, which is July 31st. Okay, wait.
So
June 30th is
you have to determine when
Yeah.
the student got their diploma. When was the student officially a graduate? If it's June 31st, then you report a one-day enrollment of June 31st to reflect the graduation exit. Now, to remove the eligibility for SPED, you then submit a SWDS record of no longer eligible a day after that July 31st day, which is August 1st.
And so I guess I think what my brain is trying to make amends here with is that for end of year 1, that student is going to count as a eligible and participating student in your end of year special ed reports, because as of June 30th, that student was eligible and participating. For end of year 2, that student is going to count as a grad because that graduation date is within that 25-26 academic year. And I don't know if your question is for the SPED report specifically or graduation. Okay, so for SPED, she's asking for the SPED reports for end of year 1, that student would show up as a eligible and participating student because the special education reports are up until June 30th. And then Audrey says the SWDS itself should always be after the final enrollment exit date of the student. The goal is to keep the student being marked as a student with disabilities through the entire enrollment, so they pool as the students with disabilities on the report. The no longer eligible doesn't affect grad rates at all. Correct. That was the whole purpose for that validation, is to make sure that for those students that are graduating, that our reports are counting them as eligible and participating as of that last day of school.
And if you are able to make that change by the 31st and be able to get a snapshot that reflects that change and certify, then you will have the student graduate with a graduate exit on EOI 1 reports.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with Audrey as well. The actual date of the SWDS in this scenario isn't consequential necessarily. Yeah, the status will change in the following academic year, but you're not going to have a subsequent enrollment, so they're not going to appear on any reports. So the status will change, but the status is changing, and that's kind of all that happens.
Okay. And question 3 for Shelley. The CFS on the web is 17.1. Should it be 17.2?
As far as I know, we don't have a 17.2. I think we just have up to 17.1. And I think you were saying you had 17.0, which was different than what Angela was talking about. Right? We don't have a 17.2. As a matter of fact, I think 18's coming out next.
I think there was a 17.2. I just don't know if it ever made it to the web. So didn't you have a 2? I think it was just in the user manual.
Yes, it was in the REMAS, and it was.
Oh, it didn't make it to the web.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not
make it to
good.
the system.
I know.
Yeah, so
I don't know what the
best
CD.
practice is to just download it in the resource page for now.
Yeah, I mean, they have a lot of filters they have to go through at the CDE to get stuff posted on their website. So we don't have that limitation, so we were able to get it to you a little faster.
But just to confirm for Shelley, what's up on the user manual is the most current? Kyron?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Great. 351, no more questions. Hang out for a couple minutes in case anyone's typing a question. You know, if people are doing anything exciting for 4th of July. Oh, question 1 from Stella. Just for clarification, a one-day enrollment would have the enter and exit date equal, or would the exit date be one day after the enter date? The enrollment start date and end date would be the same. They would equal each other. You know, if they graduated on today, you would have start date of July 1st and end date of July 1st. Adam's question 1, getting an error on private matriculators, been marked 230 with a 480 code. So for students that are enrolled in a private school, you only have 2 options for exit codes. It's either going to be E170 or an N470. And so you don't want to use the N470 if the student was with you on an ISP, because you want to, you know, have that span reflected in CALPADS. So you're going to exit them with an E170. That's your only option.
Looks like he's putting in that along with the completion status code.
Oh, There is no, okay, so for exit code of E170, there's no completion status. You should just leave that one blank. Mhm.
I think I'm seeing light bulbs going off.
Okay. No problem. Larnie's question 3. If we know that the student is returning next year for 5th year, should the enrollment be in CALPADS to support the end of year of returning next year? Yeah, so if the student is returning for a 5th year, we would expect the 25-26 exit to have that E156 saying that they're going to come back. And then for purposes of the cohort, it's incumbent on you to enter that new enrollment for 26-27 before the deadline. So before August 17th, you want to have that new enrollment posted in CALPADS, because what that'll do is CALPADS is going to see the new enrollment for 26-27, and it's going to put that student from a dropout into a still enrolled bucket. So make sure that for all your returning seniors, you're entering that enrollment, even if the enrollment's not going to start till September, right? You can still enter that enrollment in there for them. Yeah. Alejandra, question 1. I have an error for STAS data not matching with suspension number 15 out of suspension days. I posted a SIRS for a student for suspension 5 days and another SIRS for same student, a 300. Extended suspension pending expulsion 10 days. It will not let post the 300 with days. Any suggestions? In attendance, I do see the student served 15 days of suspension.
So you can have an other means and add a suspension days, because other means is that you've avoided a suspension or expulsion,
right,
for that basic incident. So now if you are telling us that there was an extended suspension, then maybe just add those 10 days on the line that has the initial suspension, because it's basically just adding 10 more days to the initial 5 days, unless of course these are 2 different incidents.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, as Karen noted, if you're giving us a SIRS of 300 other means, then it means that the student didn't serve any like they didn't serve a suspension, they didn't serve an expulsion, it was something else. And so we're not expecting any duration days for that SIRS. So as Karen mentioned, either make sure that you're also giving us the days of suspension within the SIRS, because again, you can have multiple incident results for that one incident, right? Or if you've already given us that suspension, then as Karen mentioned, add the extra days to that already existing suspension results record.
They can also add that manually in CALPADS by going into the incident data, searching for the incident ID, and editing the incident results information.
Mm-hmm. Same incident, and it did get extended. My director said it won't let her add the 15 on the suspension. Interesting. So I would say that maybe is a support for Aries, ticket with Aries. I don't know why it wouldn't let you change the duration days. But in CALPADS, you should be able to. And again, as Karen mentioned, go under the incident data screen. So from the navigation bar in CALPADS, under online maintenance, incident data, and then from there, search for that incident ID, and then you'll be able to edit the records from there. Great. 3:57.
Perfect. They used the full hour up.
I
and
know.
No more
Yeah,
questions.
made it to the end with a whole 3 minutes to spare.
a reminder for people that are into the World Cup right now, the USA is playing today at 6 o'clock.
Who are they playing?
Bosnia-Herzegovina.
Thank you.
Dominic was quick with that.
Yeah.
Might be following quite closely. Rebecca says she's still recovering from last night's game. That was incredible.
Yeah, that was great. Yes.
I'm not a fan, but I happened to be out last Thursday with a group of friends and family where it was playing, and I kind of got into it. It was USA and Turkey, and it was kind of fun.
Yeah. For me, it's all about the fans. I just love seeing the reactions from people and just the camaraderie between them. I can't really watch the games because I get too invested, and it's a lot. Then I feel bad for the other team, and then yeah. So, but I really like watching, the fans. It's really cool.
I was the annoying one going, why didn't that goal count? What's offsides?
Oh, and apparently it's at 5 today, not 6. Apologies, people. Yeah, don't want to miss that. All right, well, if that is it for today, I guess we can call it. Have a great 4th of July. Stay safe. Watch out for those fireworks. We want all your fingers when you come back. And yeah, enjoy.